David Icke, a lot of people have said that he's crazy, etc., and that he's possibly mentally ill. David Icke actually posted up on his website stuff from the BBC maligning me as being mentally ill. In the words of Jesus Christ, when you speak of yourself, for you're of your Father, and he was a liar from the beginning. So let's just take a look here at an article on my website, planetxtube.com, where I've taken a snippet of David Icke's biography, which has been posted on the Wikipedia. It's this here, and if I click that link there, it takes us to this page here, where it says about David Icke. It says that when he was at school, where he spent most of his time feeling nervous and shy, often to the point of almost fainting during the morning assembly and having to leave before he passed out. Then it goes on to say, the family doctor suggested a referral to a child psychologist, but his father put his foot down. What that means is if you, for instance, go to a doctor and that doctor has concerns about your mental health, then he will refer you to a psychologist. In the same way that if he's concerned about any other part of your body, that he would refer you to that particular specialist. So the doctor, having seen this behaviour of his shyness, etc., fainting at the morning assemblies and so on and whatever else we don't know there, was sufficiently concerned enough to want to send David Icke to a psychologist, obviously for an assessment and treatment, but he was not allowed to go, which means that whatever the doctor diagnosed at that time went untreated, because there is no other documented evidence that I can find which says that since that time that he had actually received treatment. And of course there's all the other worrying aspects of the things that David Icke has been saying, like the moon is a giant spaceship full of aliens controlling us with mind rays, and he seems to actually really believe that. And he has himself claimed that he hears voices. Now, putting all this together, and also the fact that he's making predictions which have not come true, and then carries on as if nothing's happened, like saying that the White Cliffs of Dover would be under the sea by 1991, and clearly they're not, and that the world would end in 1997, and clearly it has not. And since then he has, it seems, gone into a denial of what he has said in the past, and with all the conviction that he's said it with, and carried on as if nothing has happened. And that seems to come over to me as a form of denial, and continual denial. But the most worrying aspect of this, of course, is the fact that according to this document here, which is from David Icke's personal life, it's on the Wikipedia. If anyone can debunk it, please go ahead and debunk it. I'd like to see the evidence, but I can't see any other evidence beyond this, which tells me, reading this, that David Icke had what a doctor considered sufficient symptoms to refer him to a psychologist, but he received no treatment from that age. Well, of course, that would in itself be a cause of concern as to whether or not he is still displaying those same traits. And I think, from what I see, that he is. That's leaving to one side the fact that I believe he's a pagan and he worships Apollyon. And of course, being a pagan, they worship Apollyon, they worship these other so-called deities, and they perform magic, which of course is the summoning of demons. And David Icke is claiming that he's hearing voices. In medical terms, if you are hearing voices, you could be diagnosed as being a schizophrenic. There are cases where people have heard voices, but sort of like good things have happened instead of bad things, and that of course is directly from God. But when there are signs of great delusion, such as believing that the world would end in 97, the White Cliffs of Dover would be underwater by 1991, that the moon is a giant spaceship full of aliens controlling us with mind rays and so forth. All in all, it appears to be things which are coming from the mind of someone who is either deluded or is attempting to delude others, or both, deluded and just unwell, basically. So if that's the case, that David Icke is in fact mentally ill, then I don't really think there's much more to say about his work and what he's done so far, because it doesn't actually lead anywhere, and it doesn't account for all the glaring mistakes he has made, or the fact that he just seems to want to not remember them and expects everyone else not to remember them also, and does this with a lot of forcefulness, I believe, from what I've seen. And this man has also been a politician. I'm not gonna take this to a level where I malign David Icke because he's unwell from when he was a child, and it seems to now. But I would question the motives of and then also I think the mental health of people who are actually listening to a man who's telling them the moon's a giant spaceship and that the world ended in 1997. We're still here. I'm astounded, really, at the lack of research that people who like to consider themselves as researchers do. They don't seem to do any. And just by looking at what's right in front of you and paying attention to what's being said, it's not difficult to reach a correct conclusion, rather than one based upon rabbit holes, matrices, giant spaceship moons, another utter nonsense, such as calling yourself the son of man, Jesus, basically, which David Icke then went on to contradict himself and to claim that the sun god, which is Apollyon, the destroyer, the god of the pagans, and Jesus are the same person. So Jesus would, according to the Bible, therefore be exposing himself as Apollyon, according to David Icke. I give up with anyone, I think, who's listening to David Icke, but I think that this here is actually sad. It's not something to take the mickey with. I think it's something to bear in mind if you're considering yourself to be a researcher or a truth seeker. Then you need to see what's right in front of you, and it's clear by this. And as I say, if you can debunk this, go ahead and debunk it. It's clear by this that David Icke has been mentally unwell since he was a child.